On Black Friday of 2014, Phil begged for $500, crying that he's out of money but really wants The Last of Us Grand Theft Auto 5 PS4 bundle. I gave it to him on the condition it will be paid back in 30 days, otherwise a full refund shall be issued. Hidden in my closet, the day arrived, and he cried again, this time taking $500 from my mom, only getting the PS4 after Christmas once that's settled. A memory I will never let him forget for bamboozling us like that. But winter was here and we unboxed Sony's latest console out in the Chicago snow with glee, a brand close to our hearts since the PlayStation 1, downloading Kojima's Silent Hills playable teaser as the first game we played on this new system. Joined with Guillermo del Toro and Junji Ito, this was going to be a modern love letter to the horror genre, but with Konami cancelling Silent Hills, alongside throwing Kojima under the bus to put their focus on bootleg pachinko gambling machines, fans were heartbroken, until E3 2016, signing a deal with Sony, the man himself strolled down a dark pathway, unveiling his now indie studio Kojima Productions, giving the world our first trailer for Death Stranding, and getting my hopes up that this will still be connected to Silent Hills in some way, only to have salty fanboys poop themselves in the comments of my highlight video. 3 years later, and I'm still drinking their tears, with Phil making enough big boy cash to pre-order the Death Stranding PS4 Pro limited bundle. Little tear, they grow up so fast. Ripping the outside packing to pieces, the inner box is super slick. This thing is bigger than I thought too, but not as huge as the collector's edition. I mean, just look at that thing. It comes encased in a life-size cargo pack with a 1-to-1 model of BB. Who knew babies were this expensive? So instead, we got Norman Fetus and his unborn child on the front side posing for that family photo. Flip it over, and this screenshot perfectly represents 90% of Death Stranding, a next-gen walking simulator. Now, before the salty cave dwellers emerged to prove how I'm wrong, I said that's only 90% of the game. The other 10% goes to soothing your baby by shaking the controller. Under that is a white box reminding us that this is in fact a PS4 Pro, full of extra cardboard and a physical copy of Death Stranding, a Hideo Kojima game rated M4 might be entertaining, as tomorrow is in your hands. How poetic. The disc is a disc, you play the game with this, and the manual is replaced with one slip of exclusive gold DLC items alongside the digital music album downloadable through a code, with the reversible cover art being a pretty neat bonus too. An HDMI, USB, power cable, and some instructions to go alongside the white 1TB PlayStation Pro. I rather fancy my consoles in a different color, but something about the glossy design is beautifully simple in its own way. Handprints reaching out almost as if to enter the physical world, similar to the creatures found stalking throughout the game, even revealing a hidden map of the Earth's continents, giving symbolic meaning to the players across the globe and their connections found to one another in Death Stranding. Either that, or Kojima just had some extra paint lying around. $400, take it or leave it. Now, I don't know if this is just a limited edition thing or can be found on other PlayStation 4s, but I love how the iconic triangle, circle, square, and cross buttons act as a stand for this console. It's a nice detail with the logo etched right in the center, bringing back familiar PS1 vibes, providing contrast with the middle layer by making it completely black, and overall balancing out the other two pieces, which makes the transparent orange controller immediately stand out. Just look at this thing, it's straight out of the 90s. Having a solid back color is pretty cool too, and the Death Stranding ingrained on the touchpad makes this that much more awesome. I think the controller already mimics BB's capsule pretty well, but having the entire thing light up would have gone a step further. Overall, the Death Stranding limited edition PS4 Pro is a nice upgrade to the original PlayStation 4, which even though I barely had a chance to play, as Phil always hogs the console himself, it is now starting to show its age, with the fan making really loud sounds. Hopefully the Pro lasts a bit longer, as it already seems like a collector's item that will not only look nice out on display, but only get harder to find for a reasonable price in upcoming years. At least it's a good way to keep players distracted until the PlayStation 5's 2020 holiday release. As for Death Stranding itself, I'm 5 hours in and first impressions are mostly positive. Instantly, I was blown away at just how good this game actually looks, despite most of it being just grass, mountains, and a lot of rain, probably inspired by Breath of the Wild. wild, but even then, the amount of detail is pretty impressive. So much so that the main character Sam breaks the fourth wall and calls you out for little things like making him fall flat on his face or randomly winks at the player, while also blocking his crotch for staring at it too long and will actually punch the camera as a warning. And before you ask, I saw an article on this and just wanted to see if this is an actual thing that happens. And yes, it does. But if punching the camera causes the lens to shatter, does that mean that the camera is a physical item too, just floating around him? I don't know, but what I do know is that there's a urinate button, causing Sam to pee on command, which then spawns mushrooms from the ground, and according to Phil, can turn into a forest if enough people pee on the same area. I'm not surprised, since this is made by the same dude that let horses take a turd in Metal Gear, then used that turd to cause vehicles to spin out and crash. I wish I had that superpower, as well as being able to carry 200 pounds of cargo from point A to B, topple over, and walk it off by eating a space worm. It takes time to get used to, but I do enjoy that your weight has actual meaning in Death Stranding, so picking up items to put it in your backpack will actually show up and affect your character, whereas having too many items at once will slow him down and even cause Sam to get off balance by shifting towards one side instead. It's like high school all over again. I'd say my favorite part so far is that the world seems connected to other players and encourages people to help one another, kind of like how Wind Waker HD used the tingle bottles to send messages, hints, and pictures to anyone that had that game, except in Death Stranding, they can place items like ladders to help others cross rivers, or even signs warning about upcoming challenges. It's pretty cool actually, and unless the game deletes your items over time, go to this area on the map and see if my watchtower is still standing on this cliff. And to those familiar with Kojima's work, rest assured that there are full pages worth of random messages, lore, or just an overwhelming amount of paragraphs to read through, which for the most part had font so small I couldn't even figure out what the game was trying to tell me. I skipped most of this and just wanted to continue my delivery service, uncovering the story for myself, as the level of exploration brought me memories of Xenoblade X, which had a map I spent hours obsessing over just to see the new secrets I could find. But it doesn't help that I started Death Stranding at midnight, so sitting there just watching cutscenes rather than playing the game myself was slowly putting me to sleep. All I remember is that every character seems to cry a lot, and Death Stranding isn't afraid to zoom up into their faces and show that. I'd cry too, knowing Dementors are on the loose, invisible, and will take you out for breathing too hard. These things are almost like Lisa from the PT demo. Seriously, randomly stumbling upon into an area full of BTs, as they're called in this world, is terrifying. Holding your breath makes everything go quiet, and every little sound can be heard in 3D audio. And that little robot scanner on your back can only do so much to help. With the baby capsule crying through the speakers of your controller, it is just nerve-wracking to say the least. But nothing beats having the sky clear up just a few moments later as music slowly starts playing in the background. I'd say the first 20 minutes of Death Stranding will still be in my memories for doing something similar like this, alongside falling off a cliff right before that. So yeah, I also did an unedited multicam stream of the unboxing, which is really cool and lets you choose between 4 different angles as Phil and I opened the PS4 Pro for the first time. It's on my Jacob72 archive channel, so just search that up on YouTube to find it. If you're wondering, I used toothpaste. I don't actually have paint, I just have this black charcoal toothpaste. I don't know if I'll be able to stream Death Stranding. If I do, feel free to watch it on twitch.tv/Jacob72 and join us there. Thanks for watching though, ladies and turds, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye everybody. Goodbye.